If adventure has a name, it must be Indiana Jones.
This is serious!
From Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
You don't believe me. You will, Dr. Jones.
Hey guys, here again for another review, and sorry if this is really boring and very rushed and very crappy review, because it's been a really long day today and a pretty crazy week, and this is probably going to be the only time I'll have time to do a review, so I apologize if it's really terrible. I'm going to review the only film I watched this week, which was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. This is the 1984 sequel to the original film, which was directed, this one and the original, all of them, are directed by Steven Spielberg. This is the first sequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is considered a classic, a masterpiece really in the realm of cinema, if you will. And as far as sequel goes, this one is, in my opinion, really good. It's considered one of the worst of the Indiana Jones franchise, mainly because of two reasons. The dark tone, and Kate Capshaw's character being this whiny, almost damsel in distress, cliche type woman who's many complained was demeaning towards women. I'll get into the dark tone of it. It actually is pretty dark compared to the other Indiana Jones films. There's child slavery themes, dark magic, cults. It's pretty violent. They have violence, physical violence towards children in this film, and just the overall tone and look of the film is very dark. I actually kind of like that. It makes it different from what the original film was. The original film had some dark tones, but it was also it was much brighter adventure kind of story. This is much more sinister, if you will. And I really like that. I think it made it, as I've said before, it made it different from the original. But at the same time, there's still moments of humor in this film. Like, there are laugh-out-loud moments I find in this movie. And a lot of those come from the chemistry between Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones and, I believe it's Quan, the little Japanese kid who plays Short Round, Indiana Jones' sidekick for this film. That kid is hilarious. I don't know if he was intended to be. I don't know how he couldn't be, because you have to watch the film to know this kid's behavior. He's like a little creature almost, just the way he talks and the way he behaves, and his interactions with Harrison Ford in this film are hilarious, I find. I don't know if they're supposed to really laugh at him or with him, but I'm probably laughing more than I should in this movie. But this kid is just awesome in this film. But either way, and even just not involving him, there's some comical moments between Harrison Ford and Kate Capshaw, who plays his love interest in this film. And yeah, that's as far as that goes. It's dark, but I like it. But there's still room for humor. Kate Capshaw's character plays this very girly girl, who's afraid of breaking her nails. She's afraid of like the creepiest, crawliest things. Like, she's afraid of her own shadow. She's screaming through like 95% of this movie. That gets really annoying, and I can actually kind of agree. Her character really does kind of bring down the film a lot. I mean, she eventually grows into a much less annoying character, but she's still pretty much like just screaming and just being irritating throughout the entire goddamn movie. She's not it's not horrible. Like, her performance is good at being what it is. But what it is kind of annoying. Yeah, and then you have Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, being this iconic character that he stepped into the boots of in the original film. He comes back and he does it again great. Indiana Jones is one of the greatest film characters of all time, in my opinion, and he really just comes back into the role like it's natural. I like the fact that Indiana Jones delves into a little darker territory in this film, because he's put under black magic or voodoo magic, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, he's just really great in this. But there's like some dry, sarcastic humor to him. You know, smart-ass quality, and I really like that in Harrison's performance. Fun stuff. That's what I really like about the Indiana Jones character. You know, there's a line in the original where he's like, where he gives us this huge plan, and someone's like, well, how are you going to do that? And he's like, I don't know, I'm making this up as I go along. That's what I really like about the Indiana Jones character, is that he gets himself into these situations, and he just pretty much rolls with it, and yeah, it's just an he's a very interesting character, I find. A lot of people slam these films for being just pure, you know, adventure, actiony, you know, brainless stuff, and that is true to some extent. I'll get into that later, but at the same time, Indiana Jones is such an interesting character that it almost it almost gives it a little bit more, it's what makes it more than just the average Hollywood hokey film. It makes it classic, really. Another thing I want to get into is the craziness of this film. There's things like, you know, people eating bugs and things that I don't think even in different cultures they would eat. You have, you know, the whole raft, falling out of a plane and landing in the snow on a raft and surviving. You have, you know, these crazy booby traps that somehow just happen to just not, you know, 1 minute they're here, this close to the people, and then 5 minutes later they're still just that close, just, you know, to create an intense scene. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief in these films. That's really what they were meant to be. They were meant to be an homage to the old serial films that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas had grown up on. So if you're not gonna go in and say, I'm not going to buy the magic of film, if you will, if you can't really use your imagination, then these films will not appeal to you, I don't think. Because if you just say, well, I can't accept that, that's not within the realm of reality, then yeah, don't even bother with the franchise, really. Because that's what really they're all about. They're about imagination and adventure and fun. And it's good fun at that. It's not like, wow, I just have to turn off my brain. There are some, you have to suspend your disbelief, but it's not just stupid idioticness. It's imagination, really. What else was I going to do? A testament to the special effects. Today they seem a little dated, and yet still, while watching it, it really was still intense. The whole minecart chase, which has become one of the most memorable scenes in movie history, is still, you can say, wow, you look and go, you know, those were little miniature puppets and things, but you still were on the I was still on the edge of my seat in that entire sequence. I was like, whoa, what's going to happen next? You know, oh shit, you know, things are getting really intense during the sequence. And that's a testament, really, I think, to old-fashioned special effects and technology, is that they may look a little dated, but at the same time, you're still wondering, like, how did they manage to do that? Whereas today, it's like, oh, computers. So I think it adds a little bit more to the enjoyment of the film, where you're sort of guessing, like, that must have taken a lot of work, as opposed to, you know, they sat in front of a computer for a year straight. Not saying that that doesn't take a certain amount of work, but I find it more fun to sort of guess how things were accomplished without just going computer. So yeah, the complaints about this film I mentioned were Kate Capshaw. There's a few moments where the film just kind of goes long without really much going on. It's the dialogue, when it comes to explaining what's going on, is exposition-y, like really just, you know, textbook stuff. Like once there was a great king who held, you know, 3 mystical stones, and they believe they have magic powers. That kind of dialogue, that's kind of been there, done that, and it's kind of annoying. But other than that, it's a fun kind of thrill ride. It's a really great film. It's underrated, I find. And if you really don't, again, if like the whole idea of, you know, minecart chases and getting out of crazy situations doesn't appeal to you at all, then I'd skip it. But if you really just want to see some great imaginative stuff mixed in with some great characters, then Indiana Jones is a great franchise. This film is, in my opinion, good, but I could see why some people might not like it, because there's a lot of annoying things about it in terms of characters, and it is pretty dark, but, you know, I like that dark aspect of it. So I'm going to give some rating, I really don't know. Yeah, so thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Sorry, this was kind of a lame, rushed review. I kind of want to do this film more justice because I love these franchises, but what are you going to do? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.